Rockin' Royal, rockin' Navy, know y'all with me, let's get it, baby, Rockin' Royal, rockin' Navy, know you with me.
Welcome back to another edition of the KSL.com Rockin' Royal podcast, the podcast for BYU fans who rock the Y the right way. I'm your host, Sean Walker, coming at you live, little late night edition of Rockin' Royal from North Texas, the greater DFW, the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area, Frisco, Texas to be exact, right outside the Star Training Center, home of the world-famous Dallas Cowboys. Shout out to all my Cowboy fans. We're in Texas right now for Big 12 football media days, Tuesday, July 8th. Wednesday, July 9th, they'll wrap up. BYU will make its entire appearance with head coach Kalani Sitake, running back LJ Martin, wide receiver Chase Roberts, defensive tackle Keanu Tanawasa, and linebackers Jack Kelly and Isaiah Glasker facing the media, answering questions, trying to say what they can say and sometimes a little bit of what they can't say, all day Tuesday out at the Star. I'll be there. A whole bunch of media will be there. Some of it will be broadcast on ESPN and ESPNU, so you can check it out there. We'll, of course, have you covered over at KSL.com and right here in this feed, as well as on YouTube. Go find us if you're not listening to us there. Go over to our YouTube page at Rockin' Royal Pod. Hit subscribe, hit the like button. You'll get a notification every time we post a new video. We're going to put up some interviews, some podcasts, a hashtag analysis, if you will, from the day. So it's going to be great. But I thought I'd jump on here, and I don't want to necessarily preview Big 12 Media Days because I think there will be some good stuff that's pretty self-explanatory that's going to happen. You can just about guarantee somebody will ask head coach Kalani Sitake about Jake Retzlaff and the Cougars' current quarterback situation. According to all reports and everything I've heard, Jake Retzlaff has played his final snaps at BYU, or that's what he's planning at least. He is planning on entering the transfer portal after a multi-game suspension for his involvement in a civil lawsuit for sexual harassment or sexual misconduct. That was thrown out, obviously, but in doing so, Retzlaff admitted to violating the school's honor code. There was a multi-game suspension to deal with that. Rather than take that suspension or work on it, Retzlaff is just going to move on and play his final year of eligibility at another institution. So he's not officially in the transfer portal yet. He can't be in it yet. He would have to get a waiver, but for all intents and purposes, things are moving in that direction. And I don't think either side expects BYU to play Jake Retzlaff anymore. So we'll see how that one plays out. I don't want to speculate too much, but that's a basic catch-up there. I mentioned LJ Chase, and then the three defensive players, Jack Kelly, Isaiah Glasker, Keanu Tanawasa, they'll be available with head coach Kalani Sitake tomorrow to talk about a lot of that stuff. On a Monday, BYU's future picked up two really good commitments, number 17 and number 18 in the 24/7 recruiting class of 2026. And they're two prospects that I think are maybe a little bit under the radar, but they probably shouldn't be. The first one, out of Rogers, Arkansas, 6'2", 230-pound linebacker Braxton Lindsey. He's got an 88 rating by 24/7 Sports. The number 9 rated player in the state of Arkansas, top 40 linebacker nationally. He's a 4-star recruit by ESPN and ESPN.com, and he committed to the Cougs officially Monday evening over the hometown Hogs, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas State also in the mix, a whole bunch of others there. It mostly came down to BYU, Arkansas, Oklahoma. BYU went right up against two SEC schools, and they came out the victors for the commitment of the 6'2", 230-pound linebacker, pass rusher, edge rusher in Braxton Lindsey. Really big commitment, really solid commitment, I think, for the Cougs. I've heard some comparisons, and I don't love comparisons too much, so I don't say this too lightly, but he's got a little bit of Jack Kelly in him. I've been told by people within the program they can see Braxton Lindsey playing sort of a similar Jack Kelly role for BYU in the future. So that's kind of that outside linebacker, pass rushing type of linebacker, maybe some edge rusher in there for the Cougs when he gets to Provo. P4 caliber player. Also played wide receiver as a junior, 62 catches for 1,139 yards, 14 touchdowns a year ago, in addition to 28 tackles and 9 sacks and 2 forced fumbles out at Rogers High School in Rogers, Arkansas. The other one came about an hour after. So same day, 2 commitments, both on the defensive side of the ball, where defensive coordinator Jay Hill and his staff continue to clean up in recruiting. This one, 6'4", 255-pound defensive lineman out of Stillwater High School in Stillwater, Oklahoma. He's a 3-star by 24/7 Sports, 86 overall rating. Nehemiah Kolone commits to BYU over Michigan State and the hometown Pokes at Oklahoma State. Arizona, Baylor, host of other schools also in the mix for Nehemiah Kolone. BYU winds up with the 86.93 24/7 Sports composite rating defensive lineman. These 2 commitments in particular I think are significant, but they're not the highest rated recruits BYU's picked up. Obviously, BYU's putting together a pretty incredible 2026 recruiting class right now. Headlined, of course, by 5-star quarterback Ryder Lyons, in-state 4-star prospects Brock Harris, the tight end from Pineview High School in St. George, and then Bob Mulitalo, the interior offensive lineman from Lone Peak High School in the Highland Alpine area as well. Those are kind of the high-profile names, the big names out there. You can also talk about Kawe Akana, the wide receiver athlete out of Orem High School. Another big pickup, Terrence Sargent, the former Washington commit. He flips to BYU, 2-way player. Braxton Lindsey's right up there with them. And then per the 247 Sports composite rating, Nehemiah Kolone a little bit further down there. But these 2 commitments in particular pushes BYU's 2026 recruiting class with 18 hard commits at the moment. So there's still work to do. There's still work that can be done. But they're now up to number 23 nationally in the 24/7 Sports recruiting rankings. And I just think that's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, this is a top 25 caliber class. Still work to do. Possibly, maybe enough to get up into the top 20, top 15 even, maybe. For a school like BYU, I think what they're doing on the recruiting trail right now is remarkable. Yes, it's a new age of college sports, revenue sharing, NIL, name, image, and likeness. It's all a part of the game. BYU is playing that game as well, maybe even better than most, as well as anybody, certainly. But these are the types of players that BYU, as an independent in the Mountain West, in the Old WAC even, would constantly miss out on just for lack of the quote-unquote proper conference affiliation, for the lack of the quote-unquote right competition they might be playing. BYU's not missing out on them anymore. Jay Hill, a couple weeks ago at BYU sort of unofficial media day, media golf tournament that they put on now for 3 straight years. He was talking with the Deseret News and a couple of others, and he said, and coaches can't talk about recruits specifically until they sign, but generally Jay Hill says he really likes where this BYU team is at, and quote, I think it's only going to get better. Quote, BYU in the Big 12 is a powerhouse in recruiting. We can do great things. Recruiting with a badge of the Big 12 makes a huge difference. And talking as an independent, you're not going to beat a lot of other schools. Now we can battle anybody in recruiting. And they're absolutely showing that. Braxton Lindsey was a 4-star linebacker by ESPN, one of the top players in a football-rich state like the state of Arkansas. Nehemiah Kolone as well. Ryder Lyons had offers from anybody and everyone in the country. Same with Brock Harris. Same with Bob Mulitalo. Same with Kawe Akana, for that matter. BYU is now going in and they are competing with some of the biggest names and the biggest brands in college football. And they're not getting everybody. Not everybody is choosing BYU. over their other offers. I think that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly acceptable. You're never going to bat 1,000, but they're picking up the types of players and the types of talent that, quite frankly, even to this point yet, they've never assembled as a collective in one class in program history. BYU's had good recruits, but Ryder Lyons is the third highest rated recruit to commit to BYU in the 24/7 sports era. Brock Harris is the fifth highest rated recruit to commit to BYU in the 24/7 sports era. The Ben Olsons, the Ofa Moitaus, the Jake Heaps, the Matt Reynolds of the world, Tanner Mangum, those were all big recruits that committed to BYU. These are kids, these are players, these are prospects coming in the same class. It's a remarkable level of momentum, and it's building off of each other. And like I mentioned, guys, I got a feeling this coaching staff isn't done yet. Jay Hill hinted at it a little bit. They're still getting better. There are other names out there. There are other targets out there. There are other planned commitments out there. Maybe even as soon as this week. We shall see about that. But it's a really exciting time on the recruiting trail for BYU. And I'll just say it. This is a class that could... It's in the top 25 right now. Obviously, those things change within a couple degrees. Almost daily, it's the number one class in the Big 12, right back and forth with Texas Tech, which is also killing it on the recruiting trails for a lot of reasons. This is a class that I think will wind up in the top 25, may even wind up in the top 20 nationally in terms of overall talent. Yes, not all of them are going to be coming to BYU right away. Ryder Lyons plans to serve a mission after high school. Brock Harris plans to serve a mission after high school. Several of these players plan to serve church missions for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints after high school. But some of them will come in early. Some of them will come in late. I think they're all going to wind up at BYU. And the collection of talent coming to the Cougs right now is pretty staggering. So just wanted to throw that note in there on this feed. Stay tuned. If you haven't hit subscribe on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, YouTube, wherever else, I'm going to try to update this at least daily as I'm down here in Frisco, and then a couple times after this. We'll get some interviews out with LJ Martin, Chase Roberts, Jack Kelly, the likes right here on the feed. So go ahead, hit subscribe, leave a rating, leave a review. Help us grow. Want to try to use this channel a little bit more to try to supplement what you guys are reading over at KSL.com, the largest news outlet in the state. It's a fun time to be, if you're a BYU fan, it's a fun time down in Provo. And we're going to take you guys along for the ride right here on Rockin' Royal on KSL.
Rockin' Royal, Rockin' Navy. Know you with me. Let's get it, baby. We going long like a cougar tail. Defense hitting hard like some seashells. Get into the green. I ain't talking kale. Boy, that team up north, man, but oh well.